green notebook. My mom had got me this notebook, and I was just writing, and it would be sideways and slanted and just like a mess. And I was writing really small because I didn't want anybody to read what I was writing. In my teenage years, I moved further away from the house. And as I moved further away from the house, it was hard to like hold these things. I had to retain these thoughts. I didn't write anymore in that little green notebook. I wish I had it, man. I never kept up with things. Who wanna bet us that we don't touch, let us stack. That's a whole different experience. I tell you about that. That was the first time I made a demo. Jazz and Big Daddy Kane in Brooklyn were the two guys at that moment. And the connector was Fresh Gordon. You know who Fresh Gordon is?
I know because I've read about him.
Oh, okay. Fresh Gordon was a super connect. Everyone used to be in his house. Fresh Gordon actually really, I believe, did the Push It beat and sold it for like $5,000. That's the folklore. I don't know if it's true. And it was the first time I was like, oh, I can make songs. And that was I played for my uncle. He's like, man, get that shit out of here. I was like, I'm gonna be better than LL Cool J. He's like, get the fuck out of here. But my uncle loved me. He was protecting me in that moment the way he could, because I was dreaming too big. He was like, let me let you down. It don't happen like that in life. Catch me skating through your town, putting it down, y'all relating. After 96, all the material that's on Reasonable Doubt was pretty much already like in my head. The thing about that album is the freedom in it and how naive I was. I didn't know anything about the music business. I wasn't trying to make the greatest song or, Streets is watching. The third verse is like 68 bars. It's not like 16 structured bars that I know is like be palatable for the audience. What I was thinking during Reasonable Doubt was when my guys hear this, it's gonna be like, their mind's gonna be blown because we just left Vegas and this tells the story of our whole trip. They're gonna go crazy. This story that we just completed and now we're back home, they're hearing on wax. That was it. I was trying to make music for guys who were in the street and living just like us to have like a soundtrack to, the emotions that we were dealing with. Not just like the highs, not the Lexus and thing. That was part of it, yes. Like that's the eye candy, the Lexus with the TV sets but the interior feelings and emotions was really what I was trying to accomplish as a writer. Like, how do I go even deeper to like, I'm gonna tell you what you were thinking when you were doing that. Because it was exactly what I was thinking. I know exactly how you felt in that moment when you felt that paranoia or that exhilaration, whatever it was. I've been around this block too many times, rock too many rhymes, cop too many... Most times I come up with the flow first. You may have heard like people like he does his Rain Man in the studio. Because I'm like, I'm trying to work out the pockets and then I'll fill it with words. What Biggie had was a jazz pocket that we didn't really know we was listening to until later on. One of his neighbors was this like jazz musician who would take him to like shows and things like that. We knew Rakim was come from a jazz background, right? So we understood I got a artillery lyrical demo, down. So he's mimicking a horn, but Biggie was so unorthodox that it was like. Jesus. The notorious just please us with your lyrical. That's just jazz, improv, what he was doing. I don't come from a musical family, no instruments, but it was just so much music in the house that it just was innate in me to think musically as well as I thought lyrically. Even the first album, when I didn't know what I was doing, I listened to some of those pockets, and they all like melodic. One day you're cruising in the 7, next day you're sweating, forgetting your lies. Yeah, collaborations is important to me because again, it's almost like another ingredient, and let's see how we can create a song that is authentic to all of us. The artist wants the other person to have a great performance because you want a great record. You don't want to have a performance where you're just, your verse is just obliterating someone and then, no one wants to hear that verse. That's not good for the song itself. I'm a fan of songwriting, so I want to know that the outcome. I'm curious to see how this is going to turn out. What is Pimp C going to say on this beat? You know, he didn't like that beat in the beginning. It was just like, hey, Jig, man, that thing too fruity, man. It was like, he thought he was making like the biggest commercial, like sellout record. And he took some convincing. He still did the song. We actually was really cool once we met each other. I think he had 8 bars. I'm not sure. Maybe 12. I think he had 12 bars. 12-bar verse that was like one of the most memorable verses on a song. Cause me and Bun is like, it's the big rap pick, but down, we just did a triplet flow to it.
Big pimpin', spin the cheese.
But he did the opposite. He wouldn't even, he cut it in like, I think quarter note, whatever. He cut it like smoke. And I was like, what is he doing? And then by the like 4th bar, I was like, oh my God. Just beautiful. Like on Brooklyn's Finest, I didn't get to hear that till maybe a month later. So I did all those little parts. I'm saying, what's your name? Who shot you? And Biggie filled those in. And when he was like, in Faith Fab Twins, she probably had 2 Pacs. I was just like, oh my God, it's just such a good line. It's just so good. And it was just so, he was one of those ones who ain't run from like controversy, whether it made him look bad or not. Like, you know, most people ego wouldn't allow him to say that. And it was like one of the endearing qualities that he had as a writer. You know, black and ugly as ever. And then the word, one word was so powerful. However, black and ugly as ever. However, anything he said after that was gonna be amazing. Those are little tricks as a writer that, you know, that everyone's trying to accomplish. I can't say everyone. That's that I'm trying to accomplish, like when I'm writing, is like just a word that just changes the framing of the thought in a powerful way in the shortest amount of time. Because that's hard to do. Like if you got unlimited, you know, God did verses, I'm gonna hit on something because I'm writing through so many pockets. I'm gonna hit on a bunch of things. But if I got 8 bars, you know, if you think about like fronting, like that was a very condensed, hard verse to write. You got 8 bars to convey your thoughts and get out of there.
Every time your name was brought up, I would act all nonchalant in front of an audience like you was just...
You know, those is when you got to sit down and really just like, you know, make sure every measure counts.
Guess who's back?
It's a challenge for the pen, like when you're creating for someone else, and especially people that you respect. You know, Dr. Dre, I grew up obviously a fan of him and Snoop. You know, this is Dr. Dre coming off, you know, leaving Death Row. I know where he was trying to go because I've been there a couple of times with like Kingdom Come and those things. So he's trying to make, you know, he's like, I'm leaving this place and I want to mature. So for me, it was just natural to like get into his psyche. Like what would he be thinking right there? What would I be thinking? I would be thinking, I have to remind people that I'm Dr. Dre. That's where Still Dre comes, Still.
Dr. Dre is the name, I'm ahead of my game, still.
It's like a challenge for you as a creator. For me, that's where I really thrive, like when I'm challenged to like do a thing, to make a word mean more. It's triple entendre, quadruple entendre. That's when I feel like I'm at my best. You know, you can pin yourself in the corner and say, I'm gonna write a song about, you know, alcohol. And I'm gonna just like find clever, lyrical exercise is a better example. So now I'm just gonna take all these references, you know, about bars and sit-ups and chin-ups and things, and I'm gonna make it make sense, and it can't be corny.
Bring your squad, bicep, triceps, and quads.
Almost like a cooking show. These are the ingredients I got to work with. I'm making this type of meal, and I have these sort of things, and that's it. You take one of your arms and you tie it behind your back. That's a challenge, but it's a challenge as a writer that you relish and you want.
What good is a menage a trois when you have...
I know everybody's seen the logo at the bottom of the screen on the front page. That's right, baby. Alky Water. Now y'all can scan that QR code and make sure y'all test some of the crispness water out there, man. Tell them the front page sent you, and it's how we keep everybody freshly hydrated on the show, baby. Alky.